Mr. Estes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for our witnesses for being here. It's so heartening to hear your stories, just because it tells about the success that's happened since TCJA was passed, and whether you're talking about research and development or depreciation or being able to go through estate planning or planning your lives, or how you can actually help wages increase. And as we've talked so much during this panel of all the benefits that came out of TCJA. It's so great to be here. We're out of the DC bubble, being able to talk to people. I call it the real world out here, away from the DC Beltway. Being here at the Iowa State Fair, it's I know a lot like the Kansas State Fair, where people come for the rides and the food and entertainment. But I know also that people come because they want to learn more about what's going on in the agriculture arena, what kind of innovation and ideas that are out there. Of course, not to be competitive, but the Iowa State Fair did start 20 years before the Kansas State Fair did. Also think maybe have better marketing folks. But the one excuse I will use is that the Iowa State Fair was started before Kansas was a state, so we couldn't really call ours a state fair at that point in time. And while we're here, as we talk about all these innovations that Americans are known for, and we learn more about what's going on in terms of how American agriculture feeds and fuels and provides clothing for people around the world. I know it's tough in the rural agriculture communities. I grew up on a family farm. In fact, my mom still lives on the farm that we have back in Kansas. And farmers have benefited for more than a century of technological advances, trying to help provide that food and the benefits for the world. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act recognized how valuable that innovation was, and I know as Americans have invented everything from air conditioners to zippers, so innovation is strong and part of our way of life here, and we want to make sure we continue to encourage that. I'm chairing the innovation tax team as we go and look at preparations for next year. And we want to make sure that we continue to have a tax code that actually provides and encourages our ability to create and invent and come up with new ideas that actually make the world a better place. Mr. Walt, there's no question that countries like China, which actually provides 10 times the tax credit for research and development now that the United States does. And they're starting to gain, actually they've closed the gap on the United States in terms of the amount of research and development done there. Can you share your thoughts on what the United States needs to do to be a global leader in innovation?
Well, I think TCJA went a long way with the provisions that you mentioned. The expensing, R&D focused, bonus depreciation, lower tax rate, globally competitive tax rate. In the Home Depot's view, it certainly has been the most impactful to us to encourage, to allow us to invest. Not only to encourage, but to allow us to invest further in the U.S. We are primarily U.S. We have 2,000 locations here in the U.S. that serve all communities, large and small, and so the ability to have a competitive rate in the United States, encouraging companies like ours to continue and to increase investments as we have, and to encourage companies, other companies to invest and innovate in the U.S. So I would say that there are some incredibly powerful provisions in TCJA that encourage investment of all kinds in the U.S., innovation and otherwise.
And thank you for that. And as you noted, the 21% is only a portion of the taxes you pay. That's the federal portion, and that, as you said in your remarks, that you pay 24 to 25%, which actually puts us slightly above the developed world in terms of the tax rate still. But it makes us competitive in terms of being able to do that. So we want to make sure that we continue to have the value out of that tax code that encourages businesses to be successful here. Even with the lower tax code, the tax rate at the federal level, we've seen corporate tax rates increase and tax revenue increase. We've seen the royalty tax increase by over $200 billion over the last 7 years. because more research and development, more intellectual property was based in the United States, and that we were able to actually benefit from that as far as federal tax receipts as well. So I know I'm out of time here, but I just want to thank all of you for being here, being able to talk about the positive aspects of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act on each of you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are you at?
Thank you. Ms. Tinney is recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and